can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Well, now look, here we are. In the house is Ivan and Sue, and who's not here?
Oh, I think the big fella's not here. Don's
on long service leave.
Is he?
Yes.
Does he have to send through a certificate?
He's taken long service leave, and we're not sure when he's coming back or if at all. But he'll probably advise us. He probably will advise us. Won't he, Sue? You speak to him more than I do. How's he going?
No, he's just busy today.
Busy,
yeah,
he
he's
is.
busy working today, so he's had some jobs on.
Yeah. So that's it. So Don's on long service leave.
All right, so if he's busy today, he might be back next week then.
He might be busy next week as well.
Yeah,
We're not sure.
Yeah, he could
So
be.
he'll let us know.
Anyhow,
I'll
we're
live in
going to
hope.
stumble along here. Now, I just want to do this first. In case you haven't heard, there's a war going on in... I thought we should address this because we speak about... Do you know today is National Plus Size Day in America? Plus size. That is, if you're a porker, they have denoted a special day to National Plus Size Day.
Is that... they're slimming down, are they?
Well, who knows? Maybe they get together and who is the biggest person that can get their ass into a chair. I don't know what it is, but imagine having a National Plus Size Day. And the reason I say that is because if you pale that into insignificance, there's a war going on in Israel and Palestine and Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran. Take your pick who the war's between. And I'm just going to say this, we have no skin in the game. We don't... This is not a one-sided thing about it, but what? So, Israel, the people, were 10 days ago in their houses in kibbutz, and suddenly Hamas attacked them. Unprovoked attack. This is, I'm not taking sides here. And their stated aim, this is fact, their stated aim, Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran, is to wipe Israel off the face of the map. That's when they were given the land in 1948. That's been going on since then, to wipe them off the face, get rid of the Jews. There's 15 million Jews in the world. Most of them, the majority of them live in New York. That is 7,500, and 7,000 live in Israel.
Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing. And, sporadically they are around the globe. So that's their stated aim, is to wipe them off the face of the earth. So they attempted to try and do that 10 days ago. And Israel said that their stated aim, if they're attacked, is they're going to obliterate Hamas from the Gaza Strip or whatever.
So Hamas are with Palestine.
Palestine, Hamas, Hezbollah and Iran.
Hezbollah...
And Egypt and anyone else. They are surrounded, Israel, by unneighbourly countries. So then Israel struck back and have been bombing and strafing and killing, and they've just bombed, they think, a hospital, although they're not sure that it was a Israeli rocket or bomb. They think it might have been a misguided Hezbollah bomb that went astray, so that the jury is out. So now people are whinging. People are whinging that there's plenty of casualties, children and old people and innocent civilians who are getting killed. Wow, would you believe that? Of course that's going to happen if you decide to wipe a country off the face of the earth, and the country who you are trying to do that to fights back. The unintended consequences of war is that there'll be horrendous casualties.
There'll be chaos.
And there'll be chaos, which there is. And that's what's happening. Why anyone would whinge about what's going on? You can whinge about it, of course, and it's sad and it's devastating. But if you're going to ask Israel to have a ceasefire when these people started it, you are deluding yourself. So this is going to play out. And I noticed that Joe Biden, that dopey, stupid man who is probably complicit in most of this, he was going to make a visit to Israel. Lucky he's cancelled it, I think, because he's so dopey and so out of it, he'd probably end up shaking hands with someone he didn't realise who wants to kill him. And him and his crew of Kirby and Blinken and that stupid woman Kamala Harris and the dopey Joe Biden, they are complicit in all this because they've funded Iran with all. Anyhow,
so how can Biden fly into Israel when Australia can't get flights out of Israel? Like, what's the go there?
No, Ivan, please. The President of the United States can fly anywhere at any time. Of course he can. Ivan, please. This is not getting onto one of Mr. Joyce's aeroplanes that Mr. Joyce graffitied for the no vote. Had yes all over his planes, completely graffitied
Maybe that's
his
where
planes.
the yes planes are. Over there.
Mr. Joyce, I notice, is over in Dublin. He's a scarpet away from the country. He's been called to a Senate inquiry as to his handling of the airline. And he's over there with Mr. and Mr. Joyce are on furlough over
spending his millions
in Dublin, him and his husband.
No, I thought it was funny how the Australian government said, "Oh no, we can't get the flights are delayed out of Israel." Yet you could get a commercial flight straight into London and straight out of Israel. I don't understand.
The President of the United States can fly anywhere he likes at any time. So they will have great security. So just finishing on the war, you turn it on and they have interviewed, this is CNN, Fox News, the BBC, Al Jazeera, MSNBC. They have interviewed 8,000 people and they all say the same thing, that it's shocking what's going on. And the supporters of Palestine and Hamas, they say it's a disgrace what Israel is doing, and Israel say exactly the opposite, and it goes on and on. And Israel say they warned the people in the Gaza Strip to leave because they're going to obliterate the property, the Gaza Strip, and the Hamas people have said, no, you stay there, don't leave your homes. And what happens when they bomb them? Oh, they're going to die. And that's what's happening. So the only thing that the Israelis have up their sleeve is they have what's known as a nuclear bomb. And I tell you what, if it gets out of hand, just watch. If they think they're about to be wiped off the face of the earth, God knows what will happen as far as that goes.
Well, hang on. They're not silly. So they've got 9 of these nuclear bombs. That's what I remember. Gaza is just 50 minutes away.
Yep.
You know, I might be not that intelligent, but a nuclear bomb, it goes a little bit big, doesn't it?
Yes, well...
So they wouldn't do it in their own backyard.
Ivan, we are just speculating and speaking hypothetical nonsense here, but just I don't think you can... I think you can make a nuclear bomb as devastating as you wish, can't you? You don't have to have a huge million megaton bomb.
Oh, right.
I don't know, but the one that they dropped on Hiroshima, dropped on Hiroshima, I think while it flattened Hiroshima, it probably wasn't in the range that you're talking about. I don't know any of that. And if it really gets out of hand, they might drop one on Iran before they get a nuclear bomb, because Iran said that if they get a nuclear bomb, they would wipe Israel off the face of the map. So that's where we're up to. We're not taking sides, but how people would be whinging about the casualties, and maybe you can whinge about them, but that's what's happened. When one side says they want to wipe them off the face of the earth, and the other people say, well, they won't, and we'll get them out of the Gaza Strip. So that's just our take on it. As I say, I don't know why people keep...
it's interesting
over
time.
Pretty simple. It's pretty simple. One wants to wipe the other out and the other doesn't want to. So no rules. There are no rules. Yep.
Well, you had the Vietnam War, and that was the first of the televised wars. Now this is...
The people you want to keep out of it is that dopey man that runs that country. How he can parade around, how America can allow him to parade on the world stage as the leader of the greatest nation on earth, they say. How they can let that man go around. No wonder people are taking advantage of everyone that America supports when they know that that person is in charge. They think the Russians have taken advantage of him, North Korea have taken advantage of him, Iran have taken advantage of him. It's just why the people can't understand that, because it's all about keeping Trump away from it, because they know what Trump would do. He would go straight to the Iranians and he'd say, right, you tell your friends, your acolytes, your friends in Hamas and Hezbollah and Palestine. You tell them to back off or you'll be in trouble. And that's what he did the last time. So that's
All right,
that's
this is
our
pretty
take on it.
heavy. What else are we doing today?
Right, so it's National, I said it was National Plus Size Day, Sue. What would you have a day to celebrate how obese people are?
Well, why not?
Well, I discussed this with you not today, but I think I saw you a couple of days ago. I ran into you in the street, and you said aeroplanes now were taking less people because they can't fit porkers into the seats.
Well, I always wondered why people, they're saying the plane's booked out or it's full, and then they get on the plane and there's obviously seats available. Yeah. And I've worked out that it's actually going by weight. So because Australians are getting heavier.
So when the plane taxis and they have to say how heavy the plane is with luggage and the weight of the passengers.
Calculated.
If you had a convention of porkers and they were flying to a
National Hamburger Day,
pork convention in overseas, and there was about 30 of them, and the 30 of the people on the plane weighed as much as the 300 normal citizens, you could only take 30.
I don't know.
Some of them weigh 600 pounds.
Why do we celebrate a day when of something like this, but they don't actually celebrate people who keep fit and healthy, which is obviously keeps us off the PBS and the medical system and healthier people. They should be giving us rewards for keeping fit and healthy, for doing it and having free memberships, whereas they don't do it. They should be having a fat tax on food.
That's right, and soft drinks and all that sort of
sugar
stuff,
drinks
and chocolate. I mean, trying to tell people how to live their lives, Ivan. Now, you might notice that we have deliberately not mentioned the no vote and the voice, because Dr. Ben Fordham, MD, not managing Don too well at the minute, but Dr. Ben Fordham is coming on.
Is he calling in?
He's coming in to do. He's going to call in to do a special.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
But he's coming in to do a special recap of what he thinks the voice was about. Okay. So I'm not going to steal his thunder, other than to say that if you reckon our campaign and me saying to boo welcome to country, I was a bit stringent saying that.
I think you were.
I think
stringent. You went over the line.
But I was only trying to get Don involved and get his attention.
But I would
definitely say that we should absolutely groan whenever it comes up, because they have definitely started to pare back the welcome to country and what they say. I watched the boxing between Tim Tszyu and Mr. Mendoza the other day, and the bloke came in and he blew the didgeridoo and he did all that, and he said, and then he modified what he said. He said, we are all Australians and let's enjoy the country, and he modified absolutely his rhetoric, what he said, and I have no doubt it's because no doubt because people have had a gutful of welcome to country, and they're starting to wind it back a bit. It's an anachronism. It is the great day to celebrate is the great day to celebrate in this country is
26
is Settlement Day, which is known as Australia Day, when someone in the middle of the 70s, a few centuries ago, came in and made this country what it is today, and we should all embrace it. And I noticed that the voice got soundly beaten.
All right, but we're not going to do the voice until the doc comes.
No,
is that right?
No, but it got soundly beaten, and my only point about it is, although it got soundly beaten, I still think it was rigged, or it would have got beaten by more, because people have just fed up with it. And the people who were the yes voters said, well, we're going to fly the Aboriginal flags at half mast. Well, that's good. We've got them halfway down. Let's get them right down to the bottom and not fly them at all. And they said we're going to have a week of silence. Well, how fantastic is that? Let's have a year of silence and not talk about it. So I'm not going to go on with it any more than that. But if you think our campaign is not having an effect, you are wrong. Yeah. We are ahead of the curve.
All right. I like the fact that the area that you live in, I live in as well, had 75% of the yes vote, not the no vote. Most people around here voted yes.
That's all right. That's democracy. Democracy. But the overwhelming majority said this is nonsense, and it is. Now, so we weren't going to speak about the doc's going to come on and speak about it. Yep. I noticed now, I'm just saying this now, this is just a couple of more topics. Lane Beachley. Do you know who she is?
Surfing?
Yes.
Have you ever surfed?
Yes, I was a gun surfer. Back in the day,
All
in
right,
the 60s. I used to surf Bell's Beach before it was famous.
Yeah, right.
Lane Beachley and Mark Ella have been elevated. The reason I bring this up is they've been elevated to legends of the Sports Australia Hall of Fame, not just Hall of Fame members, but legends. And Bob Skilton was elevated to a legend because he won 3 Brownlow medals. Now, I've got a question for you, Ivan. I know someone who has won 4 World Aerobic Championships. 4 World Aerobic Championships, who is in the Sports Hall of Fame, but not made a legend. What stage do you think you'd make someone a legend who has won 4 World Aerobic Championships?
Has this person been nominated?
This is my point. This person probably hasn't been nominated, and if John Bertram is listening to this, maybe he could get off his butt and look at people who could be nominated.
What's Bertram got to do with this?
Well, Bertram...
He sits on a committee or something.
Yeah, he sort of runs it. And maybe he could also take an interest in the fact that Gymnastics Australia has allowed trans people to become part of Gymnastics Australia, when 98% of the people who do gymnastics in Australia are under the age of 12. But we've got trans people infiltrating the sport and using the change rooms. So I'll just say, someone who's won 4 World Aerobic Championships might actually start to be considered to be a legend of the Australian Sports Hall of Fame.
Easy for you to say. Yeah.
And we won't mention who it is.
You just need to go through the process.
Yeah,
surely.
we wouldn't mention who that person is, Ivan. But if you thought,
well, it'd be easy to look up on the internet.
Yeah. Why don't you look up? I'll give you the person's initials, Sue Stanley. See if you can work out who it is. Right. So.
All right. Speaking of sports.
Yeah.
The Olympics.
Notice we're not talking about the voice. Do you notice?
No, we're not. No, I'm waiting for the doc. When's he calling in?
Well, he's calling. Oh no, he's calling in. It doesn't matter because time will mean nothing when this goes. When we download this, Ivan,
right.
He'll be calling in, and we have got. How about this for a coup? We have got one of the most prominent and eminent industrial sports innovators and entrepreneurs coming in to chat about racing and all other things, and doesn't do any interviews.
And poor old Don's not here.
Well, Don, that's exactly right. He's on long service leave. If you're listening, Don's on not Don's not listening because he doesn't know how to. I said, "You ever listen back to our podcast?" He said, "I don't know how to download it." So he won't be listening. But if you've just tuned in, Don's on long service leave. Very, very long service leave. And so I thought I might play this to you. No, I won't play this to you. Will I play this about Bill Maher now? Will I do that? I'll do that later. All right.
So do we allude to
cryptic
this
question
business person could be?
What, pardon?
Do we allude to who this business person...
We'll do it later because he's going to be an interviewee.
Right.
And he's coming in, and it's a great coup because he doesn't do interviews with anyone. But he heard that you were here and Don wasn't, so he's come in. No, he didn't.
I know nothing about thoroughbreds or racing.
So you were going to mention something you said?
Cricket. So, cricket for the Olympics is going to be...
demonstration.
Yeah, one of the sports.
Yeah, well, that'll spell the end of the Olympics. The Olympics have turned themselves into just a Mickey Mouse competition. That is ridiculous.
What about
tennis, golf? It's all bullshit.
Yeah, so this is for the 2024 Olympics.
Cricket.
Skateboarding.
That's pretty handy when half the world doesn't play it.
Yeah. Skateboarding. That's another one.
Yep.
Surfing.
Yep.
Breakdancing.
Yep. We're just
not happy about that.
Yeah, no, we just should call it an Estetford, not the Olympics.
And then, of course, if some of these sports go to come in, you've got to take some away. So these are the ones, this is starting to get a little bit woke. Pistol shooting, that's one of the ones they're looking at removing. Fencing. Now, I reckon fencing's been in forever and a day. Boxing, they don't like boxing.
What sort of fly? What erecting
Fencing
a
with
fence?
swords. No.
Oh, I see.
Not out the bush. And show jumping.
Yep.
How's that? That would be something to do with horses, possibly.
I reckon it would be, Ivan, yeah.
But Ivan, they have to have demonstration sports, different ones, because they've got to freshen up and change up, and they're looking at audience participation and everything like that. So you look at maybe fencing, maybe on the decline in participation rates around the world. But one interesting thing that the actual Olympics is going to do, they are looking at starting a new Olympics in esports.
So
Did you know that?
Computer games?
Yep,
Is it?
esports, which is a massive, and
Oh,
it's just
yeah,
going to be all
it's
and
big
but
money.
Yeah, but the probably key thing, it's not, instead of the war games that all the kids play, it's actually sporting games. So like there might be something in soccer or something on esports. So they're going to make a whole Olympics.
Well, they're evolving to make it
esports.
relevant to the changing times, Sue. Do you
So
know,
instead of a
Eddie,
plus-size day,
has
we might
anyone
need a plus-size
Has
month.
anyone ever said to you, either both of you, has anyone ever said, look, would you like to come out to dinner tonight? And they said, no, I can't. I'm going to fencing tonight. I've got a fencing comp on. Have you ever met anyone that does fencing?
Yeah, my little cousin over in
Yes,
New
you
York.
smart
There
ass.
you go. She does fencing.
Does
She's
she?
very good at it.
Is she?
Yep.
On
Next
go?
question.
Yeah. So, all right. So you reckon...
No, it's probably the average Aussie probably doesn't do much fencing.
See, I was in the Olympics in '88 in water skiing, where water skiing was a demonstration sport. So whether they get in or not, they have to put new sports in. So they will do it, but whether or not they stick or whether they get in
all right.
is a
So they
totally different scenario. So
we're trying to skirt around not mentioning the voice. So we're just doing some... we'll do the shout-outs in a minute, and we'll do also... Now, have a listen to this now. Now, this staggered me. Eddie Maguire rescued Collingwood from when it was in an abyss. It was down and out. He rescued it 25 years ago, maybe longer, and got them to their headquarters. Is that the glass house where the old Olympic Stadium swimming pool was?
Yep.
Got the headquarters there, state-of-the-art training facility, resurrected that club, turned Victoria Park into a...
like a real facility.
A real facility, and it helped underprivileged. He arranged for underprivileged people to go there and be fed and all that sort of stuff. So went to the grand final and saw his great side win. I was sitting next to Jeff Brown, and I said, I said, did you enjoy the grand final? He said, yeah. He said, I said, who won the best and fairest at Collingwood this year? He said, I don't know. He said, I wasn't invited. I said, you weren't invited to the Collingwood Best and Fairest. How could you believe? Now, what? So you'd have some person, I was going to say girl, you'd have some young man or some young woman in the office who'd be doing the lists of invitees, and they wouldn't even know who he was. What a disgrace that he wouldn't get invited. As it turned out, he was overseas at the time, but that doesn't matter. Wouldn't you think you'd invite someone who salvaged the club?
Surely he would have like a gold pass. You could just walk into the facilities
but you
24 hours a day.
You would never, people wouldn't do that, Ivan. People who wouldn't take that on themselves just to walk in. You'd like to be invited, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well,
you wouldn't just turn up unless you were...
Clive Palmer, maybe.
No, unless you were...
Incidentally, how did you meet Eddie? What was the very, very first time you met Eddie?
Now
I don't know. I think you've told me, but I don't know if this was on air or.
No, I met him when I was playing football. And he was a reporter for Channel 10, and he wanted to interview me about something. When I got on well with him, and I took him. We went to Silver's nightclub. He was just a young lad, and I led him astray down there and loaded him up with grog and booze. Yep. And he piloted his car home. No, he didn't. I got on well with him, and then really the next time I spoke to him was when he rang me up and said, "We're starting a show called The Footy Show. Would you like to? We think you'd be good on it."
All right. So you met him
that
when
was
he was
the
a
first
reporter.
mistake he made. He's associating me. with that show. So that's how I met him. And he's a very good man, and he's a star. And he is the best on-camera performer and host and anchorman in the world. I know you think that's a big statement, but he is. Just look around at who does it and who rehearses and who has an idiot sheet and who has an auto cue and who gets coached. He doesn't do any of that. He does it straight off the top. And if you want a better example of how he did that live broadcast that he did for the Shane Warne Memorial at the MCG, which went to about 2 billion people over the world, straight off the top of his head. He rehearsed it, but he had to do it and nail it on the night because it wasn't recorded.
That's definitely a skill.
Absolutely brilliant. So that's that man who didn't get invited to the Collingwood Best and Fairest. Now,
that's a bit
Collingwood
rough.
people listening to this, they'll say, you don't know what you're talking about. That's absolute nonsense. He did get invited, and if he did, well, good on you, but I don't think he did. Mind you, he didn't tell me, but I don't think he did. So just so we haven't mentioned The Voice. We're not going to mention The Voice because what we said about The Voice is we've been spot on and they're welcome to country.
Oh, they don't like that. They don't like being wrong.
Oh, no, and flags are flying at half-mast. I know the Mildura Base Hospital is flying a flag at half-mast. They got the Australian flag up and it's full mast, and the half standard there is the Aboriginal flag because they're sad. The poor little bedwetters, the bedwetters and the dribblers are sad because it didn't get up. Oh,
it's too bad Phoebe's not here because she could tell us if the flags are half-mast over the Westgate Bridge. I think they were at half-mast.
How pathetic.
But that was for a different reason.
And so they can
just
start to take
coincidental.
They can start to take all the graffiti that they adorned the St. John's, what's the church on the corner of Flinders Street and St.
Yeah, not St. Pat's, the other one.
No,
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's.
There you go.
They had that graffitied up, so the yes vote, the Melbourne City Council have got yes votes up everywhere. They can take all that graffiti down and they can stop pandering and being sycophantic to nonsense.
But we're not going to talk about The Voice.
No, we're not talking about The Voice. You won't allow play what Bill Maher is if he was in Australia, he'd be a Labor supporter, but he is a Democrat. He's not a Democrat, he's a Democrat supporter, doesn't like Trump, and he has a podcast, very successful podcast. I'll play you what he said, and he might have been listening to us, but I certainly wasn't listening to him because I'd never heard him say it, but you wait till we play that to the doc.
Right.
When he comes
Have you
on.
ever not voted? Do you
No.
always vote?
Always vote, yes, because
very
it's the law. Ivan.
Well,
We
no,
are law-abiding citizens.
you can do a donkey vote, or you can go in and.
Well, that's voting. You got to turn up and do it.
You got to turn up.
I just didn't want to pay the fine of $30. How much fine is it?
I don't know.
Anyhow, so we're deliberately not speaking about The Voice. I know the hobo is still in residence on Beaconsfield Parade.
Does she have a emotional support animal with her?
Has she?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
no,
Fuck if
God.
I know. The reason why I say that is because I saw on the news, and there was a person. This is only in America. An emotional support animal was brought into a Philadelphia Phillies game, baseball game, and the animal, wait for it, was an alligator.
I've seen that man with the alligator. That's and why would you let someone get away with that? Because they'll be litigious. They'll take someone to court and say, "I can't go anywhere without the alligator."
Without the alligator, yeah, fantastic.
What's that? Are you showing me something?
It's $92 a fine in Victoria for not voting. $92.
$92.
And
Is it different states? Probably would be.
Oh, yeah, I'm guessing so because it said Victoria.
Yeah.
So in Victoria here, it's 92. And how many didn't vote? 2.8 million?
2.6, 2.8 million. 85% of the enrolled people only voted, so 15% didn't. So why wouldn't you vote? Why wouldn't you not vote, honestly?
Because you can't be bothered going down, standing in a queue and doing it. You'd
Well-
just rather pay the $98.
That's the other thing too. The queues were like 2-3 hours on the day.
Yeah, well, there you
itself.
are.
It's just
I mentioned the Zoo Mendoza fight, and then Welcome to Country, the man who blew the didgeridoo, but was very, very good about saying we're all Australians and let's all get together and let's be one and all that, and he did that. the people who commentate on the fights. Jeff Fennick's good man. I like Jeff Fennick. But the fight had been going for 10 seconds. And they said, Mendoza's he's the aggressor. How would you decide that in the
first 10 seconds?
Maybe because he put out a jab. It was a very one-sided fight. People said it was a great fight. It was absolutely, Tim Tszyu was in another class and probably be a world champion with a bit of luck. But they went for 12 rounds, or they threw the towel in after, but it was I think he was stringing him out.
Yeah, it's not a
Tim.
It's not a sport that you'd want your kids to go into. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I noticed that the man who did blow the didgeridoo and gave the welcome to country, in the end he said almost exactly, we're not mentioning the voice, but he did mention exactly what Pauline Hanson said. Pauline Hanson said, today we are one nation, one country and one mob. That's what she said after the no vote got up. And the man who did the welcome to country at the Tim almost parroted those words. He said, we're one country, one nation, and we're all together. So they have modified what they say now because of the campaign that's been started by some people to have the welcome to country modified and probably wiped away altogether because it's unnecessary. It's a divisive thing, and that's what the whole thing about the voice was.
But you're not talking about the voice.
And the Prime Minister and Alan Joyce, not Alan, what's his name? Mr. and Mr. Joyce.
Alan Joyce.
His name Alan?
Yeah.
No, his name's not Alan, is it?
Yeah, Alan Joyce, that's it.
Who was the coach of Hawthorn? He was Alan Joyce too, wasn't he?
Yeah, you're
Two
right.
Alan Joyces. There's 3 Mr. and Mr. Joyces. Holy hell. Shit. Well, there we are. So, it's not Alan Joyce. It's no, it's not Alan Joyce.
Hang on. All right. Look,
Is it?
You give me a second. I'll Google it.
What
There'll be all the listeners will be going
who was
screaming
the Hawthorn
at this
Football
going,
Club
yes,
coach?
it is Alan Joyce.
Alan Joyce was, all right, Mr. and Mr. Joyce. Maybe I've got the
How
other
would you-
Maybe I've got the other Mr. Joyce that he's married to.
Alan Joyce, Irish Australian
there we
businessman, they call it.
Yeah, businessman.
Not to be confused with
He's
Alan
been
Joyce.
called back to appear before the Senate for stuffing Qantas up. So, all right, now, anything else? Oh, no, we're going to do the shout-outs because we're not mentioning the voice. We're not mentioning the voice because a very important person coming on. This is Mick Christian. Now, incidentally, look, I don't know if there's any hats left because the no vote was fantastic. You can still get no vote hats, just our caps with no on them.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's
Why would you need one now?
Oh, just to show, just
reinforce,
to stick it up people to say you bled on about it all. And
but we're not talking about that.
Yeah, what about that? You know, and then they're saying now that there was a young girl reporter on the ABC who said, "Oh, Indigenous people now should not be so friendly to white people." Can you believe she said that? Maybe that'd be a good job for that piece of pig's vomit who spat on one of the no voters.
Yeah, how would she be feeling
Denise
now?
Ferris. How she hasn't been sacked from the Australian National University is beyond me, and maybe she could.
That sort of didn't play out too well for her.
No, it didn't play out too well for anyone because it was bogus, the whole thing, and the Prime Minister should resign forthwith for wasting $400 million worth of our money. Could have put that into much better use by shoring up some of the things that the Aboriginal community might need, like community centres,
houses,
and counselling and houses and jobs. Yes, of course, but that's obvious to say that. That is obvious. I won't mention what Bill Maher said, but I'll do that later. So shout outs now. The Caps, Sue and Ivan, and Don's on long service leave. There might be some signature caps with Don's signature on it. You know, remember the Mick ChristianMenswear.com up your coit. He got us to sign them, and you signed one, Ivan, even though your name's not Ivan. Yep. And Ben Fordham, Dr. Ben signed them. Rex signed them. Imagine if you could get Rex and Don's signature on hats because they're not here. What collector's items they'd be. So
Well,
you can still
remembering
get them,
the first one went for $900.
$900. So you can still get them and you can get the T-shirts and the stubby holders with "You Cannot Be Serious." It's huge. It's huge. And these are some of the shout-outs. This is Mick Christian's shout-out, please, to Ned Quirk, who's having his Bucks party this weekend at Bowenheads. Ned and his mates will be wearing the SAS caps. That's Smart as Sam caps, not the elite fighting group. Isn't that an elite fighting group? SAS.
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
Have you been watching that on TV?
What's that, Bob?
Do you watch TV other than the news?
What?
You've been watching SAS on TV?
No. What is it?
Exactly what you just said. It has celebrities doing SAS training
I
and
didn't
competition.
say that. I just said it's an elite fighting group.
Exactly, elite fighting group.
I didn't exactly say that. When you said it's celebrities doing it.
Yeah.
Well, who's doing it? What did they do?
Anthony Mundine. I think he just walked off the show last
Shane
week.
Warne's son did it, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Jackson.
Yeah, he did too. He did too.
So what did they do? So
They do all the SAS training, they go up
with a
on...
view to what? Winning it or competition or
Yeah,
what?
they do a 10K run and people who don't run and that you've got to do it with packs on. It'd be tough. Jump into ice baths.
It would be absolutely
I
tough.
could see you doing that. Not.
You see me, I'd trip over the white
SAS,
line, get
yeah.
to the
Incidentally,
start.
have you ever been asked to do these reality shows like Big Brother or Dancing with the Stars or I don't know what else? What else is out
I've been
there?
asked to do Dancing with the Stars, but I wasn't. Really? When I was asked last year, I wasn't capable of doing it because I've had a crook ankle.
Yeah, you pulled a heartstring.
Bit of a cripple.
I was going to say something about SAS.
Oh, the Alzheimer's has kicked in.
Oh, it has kicked in. No, because you interrupted me.
Oh, boo-hoo.
She was. So SAS caps, and so this is Ned and his mates will be wearing the SAS caps as they do their pub crawl around the Bellarine Peninsula. Oh, that'll be great for the people in the Bellarine Peninsula to see pissed people walking around with SAS caps. Also to Jack and Jill.
Yep,
Jack and Jill.
From Tassie?
Who?
From Tasmania?
Jack and Jill Tubb, Tubb, from Alfredton in Victoria. Have you ever heard of Alfredton?
Elfington.
Elfington,
No,
yeah.
Alfredton. ALFREDTON.
No.
Alfredton.
No.
In Victoria. They never miss a podcast and tell Sammy to keep, saying as it is. And also Doug Wade, great guest of ours here and a great friend of mine and a great full forward from Geelong in the 60s and 70s for North Melbourne and Geelong. It was his 82nd birthday last Monday, and I didn't realise that, so Doug's brother listens to this and he'll pass on. I'm not sure if Doug listens, but maybe he does. He'll pass on the fact that we said happy 82nd birthday to the great Doug Wade.
Very
now,
good.
that's that and
Elfrington, suburb of Ballarat. There you go.
Thank you, Don.
There you go. So I see people in the street as well, and they say to me, because some of them know me already, and some of them maybe recognise me from the Instagram thing, and they say to me, say hello to Sammy for me, and I said to them, I've started saying to people, if you saw Sam, what would you ask him? And then, so I've got 4 things written down here that they would. These people
come
would,
prepared.
I've got a little note.
You're a leg up from Don, who comes in here for 3 years and never had anything prepared, but he's on long service leave.
He is. All right. So one of the things is this person. I won't read out the names, but why football? So
What?
Why football? So
What do you mean, why
You're very good at
football?
football, so people say. But if you weren't going to do football, what would you have done?
Just one of these Dorothy Dix questions.
They are. Well, hang on. These are from the listeners.
How would I know what I would have done? What would I have liked to have done?
Yeah.
I'd like to have been a top-class golfer, like a serious golfer.
Yep.
Or I'd like to have Don't know.
Or done something.
Done
All
a
right, we'll
Tonight
move along.
Show.
Second one, I'll just bang these away.
All right. Let's not discuss them too much.
He has cars. Does he have motorbikes?
I've had 2 motorbikes in my career, a Yamaha
Yep.
650 and a Quacker Kawasaki 900.
There we go. So that
I can
that rules out.
still have a motorbike licence. Not sure that I'd get on a bike with me today, but the last
All
time
right.
I rode a
That was
motorbike,
question
have a
3.
listen to this. The last time I rode a motorbike, do you remember the panel operator that used to be here? Who
The
got
Rocket?
really annoyed when I called him a panel operator, but he was a good man.
The producer.
Well, he was a good man. Rod Law was here,
Yeah.
and I took him because he has a scooter.
Yep. At the time, yep.
He has a scooter. I don't know if he's got a car in him still to this day, but he had a scooter.
Yeah.
And he had he wasn't allowed to ride with a pillion passenger. But I have a motorbike licence, and I took him to the tennis, the Australian Open, when the traffic was horrendous. I'd never ridden a bike for 40 years. And I said, I'll drive you, you can get on the back. So I drove him in on the bike, what a hairy trip that was, drove him to the tennis on the back he sat on the back because he wasn't allowed to take a pillion passenger, but I have my full licence and I drove him into the tennis. That's the last
That
time
would
I
have
rode
been a
a motorbike, or a bike that was 4 years ago, I reckon.
Now you just succumb to push bikes, have you?
Yeah, no, I don't think I even ride a push bike.
And the fourth question.
Oh, fourth.
Do you believe in UFOs? Do you believe in UFOs? That's what one person asked. Anyway, you're thinking.
Oh, well,
Do you believe?
of course, because
Yeah, all right.
don't you see things in
Just a
the
question.
sky and you think, what is that? Now, I tell you what, I tell you this, I can show you this. I have the little dog box that I live in looks out over the skyline of Melbourne, and every morning before the sun comes up, I see this bright light in the sky, and I thought that's got to be a weather balloon. And I can show you a picture on my phone. I'll show you. And I looked at it and I said to someone,
It's not a plane.
no. It's, I thought it was an unidentified, I thought it was a weather balloon or a
Yep.
Chinese
Yeah,
spy balloon, and I'll show you what it is. I'll show you what it is. So I'm showing you this. That's it there. See, you can see it? That's it there. And then I took that's it there enlarged. You know what that is?
No.
That is Venus.
Oh,
That is the planet.
geez, that's a good.
That is the planet.
No, that's why it's always there in the same spot.
That's exactly right. See that there? That's it there. And I look at it and I think, that is a weather balloon. And I took an enlarged photo of it, and someone said, you fool, that's Venus. Could you believe that? How far is Venus away? 600 million, I don't know how far.
600 miles, yeah.
600
million.
miles.
Yeah.
It fascinates me that you were just looking out your window, just looking up at the sky.
Well, Sue, I wasn't in bed looking for work. I was lying there on my own, on my back, and I just
Looking
woke
into
up.
the stars. And
I looked out the window and
There's
it's
that
dark,
damn
and I
light
saw,
again.
I saw this bloody light. I saw it 3 days in a row, and I thought,
It's not a
that is
reflection.
I wondered what it
and
was.
for 3 days you were just wondering what it was. It was doing your head in, was it?
It was. I was lying there and I thought, how can that weather balloon be in the same spot? I thought it was a plane coming towards you.
but it never moved. Yeah.
And if it's coming towards you would know if it's moving or not because it's coming towards you. But when it got no bigger and no smaller and it didn't deviate, I thought, what is that? And it's Venus.
Did you wake up like the next day and the next day and the next day and go, I wonder if that light's there? I'm going to get up
did.
early.
You idiot.
Moving along.
You can't see it. You can only see it when it's dark because the sun obviously, I don't know how you can see it, but when the sun comes up, you can't see it because it disappears in the light.
No, it's still there, isn't it? You just
How
can't
do we
see
get
it.
onto that? Do I believe in
No idea.
UFOs? That's so
Yeah.
well.
All
I
right.
believed that was a UFO until someone
There
told
we
me it
go.
was
Well, that
Venus.
person that asked me that to relay that, there we go. That's for you.
So, just in case, Kate Save, do you remember Kate Save from BeFit Food? She was trying to get contestants to enter a competition. I don't know, I haven't got any update from Kate, but BeFit Food have got tremendous specials on, Sue. Did you know that? Do you eat any of Kate Save's food?
I have tried it, yes, absolutely. They're good if you come home and you can't be bothered cooking. So
That's it, which is every day of the year for me. And so, Ivan, you wouldn't have eaten it. Now, I tell you what someone
All
told
those
me.
dim sum balls.
I tell you, I've got a question for you, Ivan.
Yeah.
We've managed to speak for 3/4 of an hour without mentioning the voice. Did I without mentioning the voice. Someone said they saw you coming out. I don't know if this is true or not. Someone said they saw you coming out of a thing called, I think it's called Gut Fit. And I looked up Gut Fit. I looked up Gut Fit on the website, and Gut Fit is a colonic irrigation business. Do you
Ivan.
do you have colonic irrigations, Ivan?
No, don't.
No comment.
Well, why'd you comment? Plenty of people. Princess Di used to have.
Did she?
Yeah, they used to stick a pipe up her aort, and quite regularly.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, they did. Does she?
Well, all right.
Tell us how it works, Ive. And who is the proprietor?
So there's all right. I don't know if she wants me to elaborate on
Why
this.
wouldn't she? That's her
Oh, yeah,
business.
okay.
That's not illegal. People go in there.
it's not
to have
illegal.
their, what happens?
And
Ivan?
then actually,
just tell us how you go in. You open the door to Gut Fit, and then what?
And then someone says, "Are you here for a colonic irrigation?"
Oh, well, you wouldn't be there for a pie and sauce, would you? Of course you'd go in
And
there.
I said, "Yes, but look, I've never done this before. I have no idea what's going on."
Just tell me what happens. You went there to have a colonic irrigation.
Yep. So you're by yourself. You do everything yourself. So there's no one coming around.
What do you mean
coming
do
around
everything
with
yourself?
So there's an instrument.
What?
There's a
fool.
table. There's a table,
Ivan,
and you sit on.
What is it? Have a listen to you dance. I'll tell you what colonic irrigation is.
Have you done it?
Of course I've done it.
All right,
You go
okay.
in. I only did it because the person who runs the business, a woman called Kathy Purcell,
Yes,
is a
I met
friend
her.
of mine.
She's very nice.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right. Well, why couldn't you mention any of that? What do you mean she
I
wouldn't
don't
want
know
her
if-
name
yeah,
mentioned?
this is-
Gut Fit, it's called, and you go in
It is.
and you lie on a fiberglass trough, and
Yep.
they stick a pipe up your ass.
No,
and they-
you do it yourself. You do it yourself.
Well,
Well,
I'm sorry, I had the
Oh, you had
I
the
had
different
personal
experience.
treatment where she lubricated the pipe.
No, it's all done in the privacy of the room.
I've
You
been,
do it
I've
yourself.
been duped.
Anyway.
I had a whole group of people standing there
You
selling
paid-
tickets. They had people in front row
No,
seats
that's
looking at
not-
this. Anyhow, no, they don't. So you stick a pipe up your aort, and then the assistant, whoever comes in and checks to see that the water is not
Yep.
too hot, or you'll
Yep.
burn the
Yep.
living crap out of crap. You'll burn your ass cheeks. You won't be
There
able
it
to
is.
sit down for a week.
Mind you, it's pain free. Like you don't.
So
don't sort of
tell us about the
notice. sensation
when the water starts going into your stomach.
Yeah, it just feels like you want to go to the toilet all the time.
That's right, and of course
Yeah.
you do.
And you
you
do,
can-
and you can see it.
They have
If you want.
transparent pipe.
Yeah.
And
Just-
you can watch all the poo come out of your body.
Yeah,
It's a great day, isn't it?
Well, it's a good hour or so. Yeah.
And then they put they have the coffee. Have you had
Coffee colonic enema.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, why
that's-
couldn't you explain all that? Why am I doing it?
Yeah, no, I just
And how'd
seem to
you
be
feel
tripping
when
over
you-
myself.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you got out?
A
A little bit lighter.
Yeah, about 5
Has it
kilos
done you any
lighter.
good?
Yeah, no, it does.
Well, there we are. So.
I would say, yeah, probably you don't.
So you put the pipe up your bottom yourself, did you?
do. Yep.
Oh, dear.
And you had someone do it for you.
Oh, Christ, I had people volunteering.
No, it is. In reality,
Well, there we
it is
are.
a good thing.
Well, what a
and
note.
I tried to get a booking, and it is very, very popular. So
Very popular, is
yeah,
it?
lots of people do it.
Okay, well, all right. Well, that's fantastic. So,
Glad we got onto that.
so we're not mentioning The Voice because just you mentioned about the Melbourne. People just cannot help themselves. The Melbourne Marathon was run last Sunday, and everyone who ran in it got a medal. And the ribbon on the ribbon. That's just people just can't help themselves. The pandering and the sycophantic crap. All the ribbons had snakes and lizards and were decked out in indigenous art.
No, that's all right.
Oh,
that's okay.
Why? Why not just have an Australian flavour for the Melbourne Marathon? What do you have to keep pandering to it all for? It's just.
Well, it stands out in the cupboard.
Why aren't we
There you
all
go.
just one people? What do you do that for? They can't help themselves. Seriously. The day of silence. Well, I'd have to have a year of silence. It'd be fantastic. So we're not mentioning the voice.
No, we won't talk about
that.
So you obviously didn't run on the Melbourne Marathon.
I didn't run on it.
You didn't.
I can't run,
You can't
let alone run
whatsoever.
42k. I ran across the road the other day when I thought I was going to be run over by a car. First time I've run for 5 years. Now, Ivan, so fresh from... Are you having a colonic today?
No, not
you
today.
You should go and get all the shit out of you. Because
Thanks,
you've been
mate.
speaking it mainly for 3/4 of an hour. All right, well, now we're going to wind this down, and we've got a... Ben Fordham, MD, is coming on to speak about The Voice. Notice we haven't spoken about The Voice.
No, we won't do that.
I'm going to play you this just before he comes on, because I'm just going to play you this to finish. This is... I'll do this now. This is a bloke called Bill Maher, and he is a podcaster in America.
All right.
And he... Have a listen to this. This is what he said, and he is no fan of... he'd be a Labor man, but have a listen to this. This is him, and he's very popular. If I can do it. Oh. Hang on, just a minute. Hang on a
Working
minute.
well
I'm going to
here.
get it up
Yep.
and running
Yep.
again. I'm going to get it up and running again. Just a minute. Here he goes. Sorry about that. Just a minute. I'm going to just do it again.
Where's the rocket?
Indigenous people of the Chumash tribe.
Oh no, I've got.
I say either give it
No, you got up. Sorry. Oh, we need it from the start.
So he's a podcaster. What?
He's a podcaster.
people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements where they say, I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe. I say either give it back or shut the fuck up.
Well, could we have said it better ourselves? That's Bill Maher not talking about our welcome to country. He's talking about the crap they go on with America, although they don't do it as badly as us.
No, they don't.
People have had a gutful of it. We are all one tribe of people. Tribe, I use the word advisedly, and of why they keep dividing us, and that's what The Voice was about. It was a divisive document designed to do exactly what it was designed to do, and that's divide us, but people rejected it out of hand. And that's it, and we're winding it up now, and I'm turning this on here, and that's it. Any other comments?